Hey, what is going on, internet honkies? It's Josh back again, and it is another day, so of course there is more news. First up, there is a new WHQL certified driver out for Nvidia cards, and I have gone ahead and downloaded this version 368.69 to my system, and we'll be doing some further testing on my 980 Ti to compare against the benchmarks in my previous video, comparing all the latest Nvidia cards at their maximum overclocks, and just see if there's any funny business going on over at Nvidia so far. People saying in the past that in particular the 780 Ti has been a victim of neutering through driver updates when the 9X series cards were launched, and I'd like to see if that doesn't happen again, at least without you guys knowing about it. So look for that updated video soon. Moving on, we do have some more pictures of the GTX 1060 that Nvidia is hosting an event for tomorrow. And again, that card should hit retail in exactly 1 week on July 13th. Performance numbers at stock look to be marginally higher than the RX 480, at least in synthetic benchmarks, but of course, this is still rumor at this point. But either way, it looks like AMD's RX 480 will have the advantage when it comes to providing space for all those assets and graphics, with larger VRAM and just an overall more robust memory subsystem. But of course, Nvidia will have a card that uses about 30 watts less power. So it's going to be a good little battle here in the middle of the market, and can only wind up being good for consumers any way you look at it. But there will be some options there. Certain cards like the GTX 1060 offering better power efficiency, and of course AMD's solution providing a bit more room for textures and anti-aliasing and effects, things of that nature that will require more VRAM. Obviously you'll have that RAM on the AMD cards, so that should be very, very interesting. And speaking of the RX 480, I mentioned earlier that the partner cards are finally starting to show up and should be available for purchase soon, and it looks like my estimations for performance and cost were pretty much right on. These cards are going to be outfitted with an 8-pin power plug from the PSU, and again have 75 watts of additional headroom, which as it turns out makes the RX 480 GPU very happy apparently. Early reports have these cards easily blowing by the GTX 1060 at stock speeds and performance, and nearing even Fury type performance, which is crazy. With prices being right around the $250 mark, where Nvidia is rumored to be launching the 1060. Could this spoil Nvidia's launch plans? Will the 1060 partner cards be able to take back the mid-market crown in a few weeks? We'll have to wait and see, but again, it looks like the Nvidia solution will have superior efficiency, while AMD's cards will have superior clock-for-clock performance, but the Nvidia cards clocking a lot higher. So we'll have to see where this goes. AMD have also revealed plans to release their promised driver to address the concern over power draw on the RX 480, with driver update 16.7.1 coming out tomorrow. AMD appear to not only be offering a fix to where the power is coming from, pulling it now from the PSU directly as opposed to the PCIe slot, but also giving the card an alleged performance boost of 3%, which, although it sounds marginal, that would certainly make things more interesting there for Nvidia at the launch of the GTX 1060, and again, it's going to be a very, very close race there in the middle. AMD also has included the option right there in Wattman or Watt Manager application to enable what they're calling compatibility mode. And while this mode is expected to reduce the overall power draw of the card down from where it currently is, with the driver in general not doing that, but just giving a difference to where the power is coming from, and also a slight boost in performance, compatibility mode will be left as a choice, an unchecked box, and for those that want to enable it, it should reduce the overall power draw of the card to enable better efficiency still. AMD have said that any variances in performance while this mode is enabled should be offset at least somewhat by the improved optimizations of the driver. Of course, we'll see how this all plays out tomorrow, I'm sure. And lastly, on the AMD front today, we have just a ton of conflicting information regarding their upcoming high-end GPUs codenamed Vega. With Nvidia launching their new flagship consumer GPU, the new Pascal-based Titan with HBM2 memory sometime in August, It seems clear that AMD would want to move up the release of their owned high-end cards to compete. However, at present time, their fate seems uncertain, with reports saying that the cards will release sometime in October, and some reports saying as late as the middle of next year. With that being said, if any of you guys or girls has any solid evidence pointing to an actual release date of these cards, please link them below, and thank you in advance. Moving on, Microsoft have revealed plans of their own to help the multi-GPU situation, or support rather, of any kind in DirectX 12, which has not existed at all to this point. So there are a lot of games coming down the line, obviously, that will use the new API, and AMD and Nvidia and game developers, I'm sure, will take any help they can get in enabling this feature, which seems to be kind of a pain in the butt for any parties involved, honestly, under any API, but hopefully this will help developers and hardware manufacturers, etc., in enabling this feature and make it a lot easier, which would be awesome. It'll be interesting to see where this goes in terms of which GPU combinations will be supported and what the impact will be on performance, but any progress on this front is good news in my opinion. In other Microsoft news, a recent survey of Steam users shows that Windows 10 is now by far the most used OS for accessing the Valve-created gaming platform, and with the expiration of the upgrade for free offer expiring on the 29th of this month, they're expected to see those figures become even more lopsided in the latest OS's favor, and I, for one, absolutely recommend it, and that's coming from a guy that used Windows 7 longer than any other piece of software I've ever used in my life. So I love Windows 7 as well, but support, of course, will not last forever on something that they're no longer selling or making money off of. So don't get caught with your metaphorical pants down and get on that upgrade if you have a valid upgrade path, i.e. Windows 7 or later with a valid license. Remember, you can always roll back to your previous OS with 7 or 8 or 8.1 if you prefer, but at least you'll retain the rights to reinstall the latest OS with Windows 10 with full support whenever you want or whenever you have to, because support has been pulled for whatever OS you're currently using. Now, if you're concerned about privacy on Windows 10, you can download a little program called Anti-Beacon, and that will remove you from the Microsoft quote-unquote customer experience program, aka Microsoft spying on you. I just create a different email myself and use that for them to collect information on, just a dead email. And it honestly does help with things like searches, just like Google tracks your information when you do searches on google.com or the internet period for that matter. And Facebook and Apple and Steam and YouTube all track your information and your system statistics, etc. So good luck with that, but Windows 10, a very good OS in my opinion, and highly recommended coming from me. Now, last up, if you simply cannot wait for the new GP102 based HMB2 Packing Titan cards to land in August to get that chest pounding, heart beating performance that you need in your life, I completely get it. Or of course whenever AMD releases Vega, gets it out the door, and it looks like there are going to be some really high-end, ultra enthusiast grade GTX 1080s that should be hitting stores here very, very soon. These cards have no doubt received the best selection of GPUs, handpicked I'm sure, that the add-in board partners could find and buy. Not only that, but they are paired with the best of the best in terms of their PCBs, capacitors, cooling solutions, etc. And these cards are apparently approaching 1800 plus megahertz on their base clock, which is about 200 megahertz plus over the reference cards, and nearing 2 gigahertz while boosting from the factory on these. So overclocks shouldn't even be required, but if you wanted to do so, you may even get past 2.1 gigahertz on the boost clock, which would be bonkers. Nothing near what the new Titans will be, of course, but if you just gotta have the best performance today, and you're willing to spend buku money on them, these could be your new soulmate, and they look sweet. Anyway, guys and gals, I hope you all have a great night or day, wherever you may be. I certainly appreciate you tuning in to hear me ramble on, and I look forward to bringing you all some more news tomorrow regarding that RX 480 patch. my performance numbers and comparisons of the GTX 980 Ti, 1070, and 1080, and more as it comes available. Peace out.